My advice for anyone that's playing DBD in 2022 or is becoming a killer main in the game is to play it your own way. You know, okay, once you have a survivor injured, make sure you follow them because 9 out of 10 times that survivor will always lead you to the other survivors because the fear of being put down first is a thing. They do not want to be put on the floor first, so make sure you follow that survivor. My second tip would be to apply pressure early on in the match. So you need to apply so much pressure to the survivors that they actually don't prioritize gens, because if they prioritize gens, the game could be over within 3 minutes. So make sure you have enough pressure piled on each survivor. The way it works usually when I do it is I injure as many as I can, because when they're all injured then they'll be prioritizing healing up so they don't get put down first. That'd be my second tip to you. Apply pressure early on in the game so that you can benefit in the late game. The third tip I'd give is don't be afraid to go after someone that's just been unhooked. You know, there's too many players and people saying you should not go for someone that's just been unhooked. But don't listen to them, because if you're losing the match, and let's say the survivors pop off 2, maybe 3 generators, then what are you supposed to do? The match is basically nearly over. You need to gain control of the match again, and the best way to do that is put pressure on survivors by going for the person that's just been unhooked. Because if you get them in the second phase, then they'll start panicking, and if they're in a 4-man swift, they'll say to their friends, you need to protect me guys because I'm not going to get out of this match. So then the focus is off the generators. My fourth tip to any killers that are starting out in this game is don't be disheartened when you come up against a full 4-man swift, because usually they're already on comms, so it'll be stressful for you. Don't take it to heart that you're shit at the game or anything like that. You're good at this game. Always have that mindset, guys. You're always good at this game, no matter what kind of match you have. We all have bad games. That'd be my fourth tip, have a good mindset. My fifth tip will be to never go for the strongest players on a team. Every team always has like strong players, right? But there's also weak players on the team. You just need to find who they are. And when you find out who the weak players are of the team, you need to prioritize them, because the strong players of the team will waste your time, whereas the ones that are not as strong on the team will definitely not waste your time, and you will mess up the stronger players in the late game. Because if you take out the weaker players on the team that do the generators and all that, well then that means the stronger players of the team that are good at looping and all that will have to prioritize gens more often, because you're taking out the weaker players on the team. That'd be tip number 5. My next tip would be, guys, to familiarize yourself with the killer that you're going to main. You know, we all main killers. I main Huntress and Michael Myers, so I try to get familiar with their abilities and learn what their weaknesses are and what their strengths are. It is very important that you learn what your killer that you're going to be playing as, their strengths and their weaknesses, and what are good add-ons to use on them. At the minute, Dead Hard is a problem for me, so I decide to use exhaustion hatchets so that when I hit someone with my hatchet and they're injured, they can't use Dead Hard or Sprint Burst or any of their exhaustion perks because they're in the exhausted status. And I also use another add-on which gives me an extra hatchet. So make sure you learn about your add-ons for your killer that you're going to play as, and make sure you know their strengths and weaknesses. The next tip I'd have is to not be afraid to go back to hooks. Generally, because going back to hook, you're guaranteed there's 2 players, the one that's just been unhooked and the rescuer, so you know there's going to be 2 players definitely over there. So don't be afraid to go back to hook. People will say, oh, it's tunneling, but you know what, whoever comes across your eyes in that first encounter back at the hook, that's who you go for. Make sure you get the hits. Don't be scared if it's the person that's just been unhooked, because that's just, you know, that's people talking. Play how you want to play. If you see someone, go for it. As you can see, there's only 2 gens left in my game, so I did that. I prioritized getting people out of the game as much as I can. I applied pressure. You know, the next tip I'd have is to try and mind game your survivors into making stupid mistakes like this one. I chased this guy all the way around. I was applying so much pressure that he decided to vault a window into a trapped room. Because I didn't break out any doors there, he actually trapped himself in there. The last tip that I'm going to give anyone is to make sure that you're aware of where all the survivors are at all times. You know, I didn't know where this Nia was. You know, she could have easily went and found Hatch, but thank God for barbecue and chili being a perk with the aura reading. That after I hooked that last survivor, I was able to find out that she was behind a bush or a plant, and I was able to get down on her. So make sure you're aware of where all the survivors are at times, you know, because if you don't know where survivors are, you don't know what's going on then. So make sure you know what's happening in your match. Make sure that you're in control of the match. The main reason I put this small guide together is because I don't see many guides breaking down how to play killer in 2022 in Dead by Daylight. So if you enjoyed today's video, hit the like and subscribe button, as it'd be much appreciated. Peace.